What is going on, Gridiron fans? I'm TVC Ohio reporter Nathan Takitch in Studio A with Blaine Caraher, ready to break down Week 6 in the TVC Ohio. Now, it was the first week of conference play between these 6 teams, so 3 games to look for from the TVC Ohio this week. And Blaine, the most exciting game had to be between the Vinton County Vikings and the Alexander Spartans. The madness continues. Action in the Sweet 16 round of the NCAA basketball tournament tipped off last night, and the excitement picked up right where it left off last week. Tournament darling Dayton is moving on to the Elite Eight. Last night, the 11th-seeded Flyers used a 42-point first half to put 10-seed Stanford on the ropes, and Dayton never looked back. The red and blue matched Stanford's comeback efforts blow for blow and rolled to a 10-point win. Dayton will represent the Buckeye State in the Elite Eight for the first time in 30 years. Now the Flyers, they'll be massive underdogs because they'll have to take on the top-seeded Florida Gators. The SEC champs knocked off 4-seed UCLA, winning by 11 points. Well, Keith, having a lot of success at home might just be an understatement for the Bulldogs. Since Rudder Field was remodeled 3 years ago, the Bulldogs have owned their home turf. Coming into tonight, they had won almost 85% of their home contests, racking up 11 wins and just 2 losses and outscoring opponents by 30 per game. But one of those losses was against the Jackson Ironmen. And the Ironmen were pumped up before the game to have a chance to put a 3 in Athens' home loss column.
It's a shock to see that the Athens offense only put up 7 points.
Well, absolutely, Keith, and 7 points for the Athens Bulldogs. You know, they averaged 50 points per game this season, over 50 points actually, but you got to give a lot of credit to that Marion Franklin defense. You know, there's a reason why they've allowed 20 points or more only one time this season. Their defensive line bottled up the middle. It made it really tough to run, and if Burrow dropped back to pass and his first read wasn't open, he usually didn't have a lot of time to adjust. No. The Braves would respond, however, taking the kickoff to the Athens 3, and Corey Heater would pound his way to pay dirt, 7-6 Logan Elm. So the Braves now they kick off to Trey Williams. Not a good idea. He does his best and he gets your gun imitation. Anything you can do, I can do better. He cuts inside and takes it all the way for the TD. 2-point conversion, good. 14-7 Athens. With their MAC tournament hopes on the line, the Ohio field hockey team took to Pruitt Field on senior day to take on the Kent State Golden Flashes. It was a tight game the whole way through, but Ohio used 2 crucial penalty corner goals late in the game to win it 3-2 in double overtime. What is happening, Hardwood fans? I'm your online host, Nathan Takitch, and with me tonight inside the Convocation Center to break down the district championship game between the Athens Lady Bulldogs and the Jackson Iron Ladies is Nick Camiotti. Now, Nick, we saw a great game, probably the game we expected between Athens and Jackson for the title, but in the end it was the Lady Bulldogs who won this one by a final of 45-44. Right now, a blowout for the Athens Bulldogs against Wellston. There was one other blowout in the TVC Ohio this week, but it might surprise some people because it was Nelsonville York and Meigs. Nelsonville York has had Meigs' number over the past decade, but it was the Meigs Marauders who got this one. On another diamond, the baseball Bobcats are heading into the weekend looking to end their losing streak. Ohio has dropped 9 straight games since beating the Longwood Lancers almost 3 weeks ago. The Cats will look to snap the streak by winning in their 3-game set against the Western Michigan Broncos. Jake Rowan will toe the rubber for the series opener tonight. The righty has been the workhorse for the pitching staff, working more innings than any other Bobcat. Outfielder Mitch Longo will look to improve on his sizzling .429 batting average this weekend. Now, it's not quite sizzling in Vanderbilt right now, but Ohio's track and field team will look to bring the fire to Nashville this weekend. The Bobcats will look to continue their impressive start in the outdoor season at the Black and Gold Invitational last week at Wake Forest. Lauren McCullough nearly qualified for the MAC championships, while Kara Jackson set a personal best in the 400. Now, from hot to cold, let's take it over to the ice. The Blue Jackets will look to continue their push for the playoffs tonight in their game against division-leading Pittsburgh. Columbus has dropped each of its 4 games against the Penguins this season, but the Penguins have dropped 3 straight games of their own. The Jackets will also face off against Carolina on Saturday. And in the association, the Cavs are fighting for a spot in the Eastern playoffs. They're an abysmal 15 games under 500, yet somehow the wine and gold are still alive. Cleveland sits just 3 games back of the 8th and final spot with 9 games to go. They're going to take on Brooklyn tonight at 7:30. So guys, overall, there's plenty of going on in sports this weekend, especially for the Bobcats, and that means it's almost time for another episode of the Bobcat Sports Showcase. Host Grant Fugazi lets you know what to look forward to this week.
Nathan Takitch highlights last year's TVC Ohio glory.
After a 2011 season that saw the TVC Ohio yield 2 playoff berths, 4 teams ranked in the top 10 of their respective regions, 5 teams with 500 records, and 1 game of the century, many fans of the conference wondered if 2012 would create the same level of excitement. But last fall, the TVC Ohio answered that question with a resounding yes.
What's been the difference for them?
Well, the biggest difference is their experience. They have a lot more experience this year. They returned a lot of important pieces, especially in the skill positions. And you look at the guys that they're putting on the field, the Gage Townsend. He's shown he's been able to sling the ball downfield. Mason White, the running back, he's a big boy. I know I wouldn't want to try to tackle him. Their receivers are good too. Izzy Jones, Audric Harlow, Josh Browning were big tonight. As a team, they need to clean up on the drops a little bit, but these three are certainly dangerous enough to change the game at any time. 21-0 Athens, and then on their next drive, a sick 32-yard run by Trey Williams, gashing his way into Spartans territory. You know, Keith, anytime the Bulldogs touched the ball tonight, they were really making big plays.
They can make some huge plays, especially through the air and on the ground.
And Joe Burrow can do it on the ground too. 16-yard touchdown run here by Burrow. 28-0 Bulldogs, and there are still 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Well, unfortunately, Keith, tonight, Meg's playoff chances took a big hit. Megs was in the 9th spot heading into this one. The top 8 make it, but they really were a distant 9th, and they aren't going to pick up any points from this game. They're going to need a lot to happen to make it. The Marauders started out on fire. Running back Michael Davis here goes down the right sideline for 39 yards. He's a Player of the Year candidate as well. And just 2 plays later, quarterback Caleb Sheets goes 30 yards down the middle in the air to Devin Cundiff for a big first down. They were unable to capitalize, however. Cody Bartram taking the snap now, goes to the right side and flicks the ball to the end zone, but it's dropped by Davis. Megs would turn it over on downs, and the Bulldogs' explosive offense got to work.
Luli Gomez-Tarul drew a penalty corner for the Bobcats with no time left on the clock, and on the set play, Schmiedel's initial shot was blocked, but Laurel Desch stayed with the rebound and ripped the shot into the netting to tie the game at 2. Ohio had a chance to win the game in the first overtime when Adele Salmons took a penalty shot, but Reinhardt came up with a save to extend the game. However, in the second overtime, the Bobcats capitalized on another penalty corner when Gomez-Tarul's blind shot was deflected into the goal by Jessica Jew, giving Ohio a hard-fought 3-2 win.
You know, Marion Franklin has had plenty experience defensively against the spread offense. And you know, the Red Devils' first-round playoff game against Dover, Marion Franklin's defense put relentless pressure on the opposing quarterback. That led to 3 interceptions in a 34-14 win. So the biggest question for Athens tonight would be if their line could hold up the Red Devil D enough for Joe Burrow to make big plays. You know, the biggest difference was Marion Franklin's defense, but in addition to that, they were just more opportunistic. You know, Athens had a tough time making big plays and stringing them together. They had 2 good chances to score. That first and goal to go on the 4, they couldn't score there, and there was that ball that was dropped in the end zone. So it's really hard to win a game against a team like Marion Franklin without scoring touchdowns. Now, Heater would make him pay. He'd go up the middle for 11, dragging Bulldogs with him, and 4 plays later, Heater would score another touchdown to make it a 2-score game late in the half. Athens, you know, they'd have 1 chance left with a couple ticks left on the clock. Burrow, here he goes deep to Ryan Lerman, incomplete, but pass interference called, questionable call with 5 seconds left. Last play of the half, Burrow goes to Ryan's brother, Adam, on the left side of the end zone. 41-21 Athens at the half. They would go on to win 74-55, scoring just as many points as the Golden State Warriors.
Well, a big Week 6 in the TVC Ohio, surely a big Week 7 to follow, and you can follow with us on our website at woub.org/gridiron for all things football. And while you're online, give our social media pages some love. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Gridiron Glory, and be sure to keep using those hashtags, theGlory13 and Go for Glory, to give some love to your favorite Player of the Year candidates. And don't forget, as always, to join us on Friday nights live at 11:30 on WOUB for our show, where you can join host Keith Turner and the rest of our staff for a great night of Friday Night Lights.
For Nick Camiotti, I'm Nathan Takitch in the Convocation Center, reminding you to be heroic.